Hey guys, Ryan King here with Worship Artistry, and today I want to talk about how to spice up your major chords. Now, I know a lot of beginning keyboard players, they're wondering, how do I voice my chords? What do I play in my left hand or my right hand? And a lot of beginners will do one of two things. Either they will play a triad, which is a three-note chord. It's the 1, the 3, and the 5 in a particular key. And they'll play that in their left hand, and they might play the melody or a single note in their right hand, something like this. So in the key of C, they would play C, E, G, and then C in their right hand. Or they might flip it and play C, E, G in their right hand and just play the root of the chord in their left. You've probably heard this with a song like this. You've heard that before. And so this is kind of one of two ways. Either they play the root in their left with the triad in their right, so they'll play this, same thing on the F, and then the G, or they'll flip it and just do C, E, G in their left with C, they'll come up, and back down. Now, there's nothing wrong with that, but if you want it to sound a little bit better and fuller sounding, and you really want to start playing more like a professional keyboard player would, then you need to learn how to split those notes up and develop a better voicing for it. And I'm going to show you one trick that will really help you in learning how to spice up your major chords. The easiest way to do this, I find, is substituting the 2 for the 3. What I mean by that is a lot of times in chord charts you'll see, like if we're in the key of C, you'll see the letter C. Or the letter F or G. That means play a C major, an F major, or a G major, and it would look like this. C, F, and G. And back to C. Now sometimes you'll see a C with a little 2 beside it. That means instead of playing the 3 of the chord, 1, 2, 3, you're going to play the 2. 1, 2. And so now that's your new chord. This is an easy way to spice your chord up and give it a new kind of sound while maintaining the major feel to it. If you want to, you can also add the 3 in there, so it sounds like this. So what you can do is, by building on what you already know as a beginner, you can play the root in your left, and then the triad in your right. Here's C. This is our C major chord. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add the 2 in there. And in my left hand, I'm going to play the same note an octave down. Now the last thing I'm going to do is, instead of playing the 3 and the 2, I'm only going to play the 2, right there on the D. And I'm going to take this highest note, this G, and play it down an octave. And there's the chord that I'm looking for. So in my left hand, I'm playing the root of the chord in octaves. In my right hand, I'm going to play the 5th of the chord, the G's, with the C, which is the root, and then one note up, which is the 2. And if we just simplified that and left the G off, it looks like this. And if I went to the F2 chord, see, originally I was playing the triad, F, A, C, but I'm going to move that 3rd, 1, 2, 3, down to G. And then back to C. Back to F. Move up to G, and then back to C. So that's one quick way of spicing up your major chords, is instead of just doing a regular triad with the 1, 3, 5, you substitute the 2 for the 3, and that's kind of an understood rule, is that on any major chord you can substitute that 2 in there for the 3 unless you are really wanting to go for that solid major chord. And then they might tell you that in the music, or your music director can tell you that as well. And I'm going to finally show you one little trick, and the reason why this is so nice in substituting the 2 here is because, as a keyboard player, one of the things you want to do is move around to your different chords, but with the least amount of motion possible. And so if you're moving from C to F to G, you could have a lot of jumping. So if you're playing it as a beginner, you'd have C, F, G, or C, F, G. As you can see, I had a big jump there. Versus if I play it the way I showed you with the 2 chord, and then I go to the F, notice all I do here is I take that D off. I've got the F's with the G, which is the 2 chord, or the 2 of the chord, see F, G, and the 5. So as you can see, I've got the same notes. I've got an F, which would be here. I've got the G's and the C. And then if I go back up to the D, this gives me a G sus chord. That's a little bit different than your regular G chord, but it still has a similar feel. And then back to the F chord, and then the C chord. So notice I've got very little motion to it. I'm not having to jump all over the place. My right hand stays in place. So I get C, F, G, F, and C. And that's really the easiest way to spice up your major chords. Again, just take the 2 of the chord and substitute it in there for the 3, and you'll have everything that you need in order to spice up your major chords.